Hi, it's Nelda, and I'm here talking about what it is that you want. So, you're in a bad relationship, and all you know is that you no longer desire to be treated this way, but you're not exactly sure what it is that you want. Now, I know that feeling very well from experience. I was 20 years old when I got into a 12-year relationship. And at that time of my life, I was still going to college. I didn't really know who I was. I was going through many different transitions, moving from one city to another. So there were many questions in my life, like who am I? What do I want out of life? That I did not answer when I went into that relationship. So when we go into relationships at a very young age, we're not sure who we are. So the question now is, what do I want? What do you want out of life? And you may not have been able to answer that when you were 20 years old or 18 or 17 or however old you were when you got into this relationship. Maybe you didn't know what you wanted out of life, or maybe you thought you knew what you wanted out of life, but time has helped you to figure out certain things that you thought you wanted that you no longer want. Okay, so let's talk about those things that maybe you thought you wanted or you didn't know you wanted. Sometimes you don't know what light is unless you've experienced darkness. So I want you to think of your experience as that. Okay, in order for you to figure out what you want, I want you to look at all the things that you don't want. Now, we're going to try a little exercise, okay? The first thing I want you to do is get a piece of paper. At the very top of the paper, I want you to write down a list of all the things that you no longer desire. And at the top of the list, I want you to write down, I don't want. And I want you to write down a list of all the things that you don't want, whether it's being screamed at, disrespected in public, being hit, being called names in front of your children, whatever it is that's being done to you by your spouse or boyfriend or whomever it is. I want you to write it down, all the things that you no longer want. Then I want you to get a clean piece of paper. At the top of it, I want you to write, I want. Then using your opposite hand. So if you're a righty, I want you to write with your left. If you're a lefty, I want you to write with your right hand. So write with your opposite hand. Now this might take a minute for some of you, but do it anyway. Then I want you to write down everything you want. Your list of I don't wants will help you. So if on your list of I don't wants, it says, I don't want to be screamed at, then on the opposite side, I want you to write down, I want to be spoken to with kindness, spoken to with consideration, spoken to with love. I want to be treated kindly. I want to be treated with love. I want you to write down all those things that you wish to experience, the things that you deserve to experience. So write all those things down. It doesn't really matter how silly it may sound to someone else. It only matters what you think and what you feel. Okay? So once you've written down that list of all those things that you desire to experience, then the next step is to imagine what it would feel like if you had someone treating you that way. I want you to imagine what it's like to have a man at your side that appreciates you, who doesn't belittle you. I want you to think of a man that is kind to you. I want you to imagine that man that is loving. I want you to imagine all the good things. Don't imagine what you don't want. Forget it. You already know what that is. I want you to imagine what you do want. This exercise, it does take time. But the beauty of it is that as you begin to imagine it and you're desiring it, you're pulling it closer and closer to you. Also, what you're doing is that as you're imagining being respected, then you start to reject the disrespect. And rejecting it, it doesn't mean that you all along you've been saying, well, I want this. I want to be treated badly, but you have been allowing it. If you have been in that relationship and you haven't walked away, you've allowed it. And it might be that you've allowed it for many different reasons. Some of us allow it because we're afraid. We're afraid to be alone. We're afraid to take care of the kids on our own. We're afraid of the financial burdens. We're afraid that he's going to come after us and do something to us. There's so many different reasons why you're afraid. So I don't want you to think about those things. We already know that this is what you're going through. That's why you are where you are. But I want you to imagine what it would be like to be happy, to wake up in the morning to someone that's smiling at you, to have to cook for someone that loves your food, to have someone that says to you, baby, thank you so much for cleaning my clothes. I could have done it myself, but you did it for me. I want you to imagine that person that would do anything to see you smile. I want you to imagine all those things that you desire so that you could bring them closer to you. As you go imagining what you like, all of a sudden, you're going to start slowly breaking away from that negative relationship. Now that you've imagined what it is that you want, now I want you to imagine what would it feel like. So close your eyes and imagine how would it feel to be in a loving, healthy relationship. What would it feel like to be appreciated? What would it feel like to be loved, to be honored, to be respected, to be admired? I want you to imagine all the wonderful feelings of love that you would feel being in a healthy, positive, loving relationship. This is going to help you. So it's time to imagine. Imagine all the wonderful things that you desire to experience and bring them closer to you.